Cinco de Mayo is coming, and today I have an awesome set of recipes for you to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with. I'm talking about Birria Mini Chimichangas. Yes, Birria Mini Chimichangas. Also, some amazing charro beans, a pineapple lime margarita that you can just go ahead and quench your thirst with, as long as you're of age, of course, and some Mexican street corn, as well as some guacamole and a nice Baja dipping sauce. So, if you're as hungry as I am, stay tuned. Oh, hello. Well, guess what? Cinco de Mayo is coming up. So, for today, I'm going to be making a few dishes for Cinco de Mayo. We've got mini chimichangas, and they're going to be birria chimichangas. We've got street corn, and then we've got charro beans. So, we got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to pour me a margarita. So, without further ado, people, let's make this shit. Okay, so we have to start off with our birria. So, I'm going to start off with 2 ancho chilies into a warm pan, and then chili de arbols are going to be about 8 of those is what I'm using, and guajillo chilies, we're going to use 3 to 4 of those, and we're going to heat these up to lightly toast them. Then in a cast iron pan or a Dutch oven, you can add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil to start heating up while you salt your chuck roast. So you're going to salt every side of this chuck roast, give it a nice flip, and make sure you give it a lot of good kosher salt. Now with that Dutch oven on high, it is heated up, and we're going to drop in our chuck roast and give it a good sear on both sides. While that's going on, our chilies are ready to go into a hot bath, and we're just going to drop them all into that hot bath and submerge them and let them soak for about 15 minutes. While that is going on, we want to make sure that our chuck roast is searing on the other side, and if it's ready for a nice flip to sear the other side. Then we're going to take all those chilies, de-stem them, and drop them into a blender. Now they should be very soft from that hot bath, and you want to use some scissors sometimes to cut off the stems, then add some of that water that they were soaking in, about 2 cups, and then use a can of chipotle chilies and adobo sauce, drop that in, and I'm using about 9 cloves of garlic. You can scale it down to 6 here, and I'm going to mince them into the blender, and then some Mexican oregano, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that, 1 to 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika powder, then we're going to get some whole cloves. I ground them up in a mortar and pestle. I'm using about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of that, same for some cumin. And then we're going to come through with a white onion, half it, drop it in there, and give this a nice blend. Heat is off in the Dutch oven, and I'm going to add that awesome birria mixture that we have there, and then about 4 cups of beef broth. I made my own beef broth. You can use store-bought. It's perfectly fine. And we have the oven preheating to 350 because we're going to braise this. Then we're going to go ahead and cover it and put it in the oven for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. Then we'll move on to our guacamole. So I'm going to take some avocados, cut them in half, open them up, take out the seed by chopping the seed very gently, carefully, pulling that out, and making nice little cubes here with my knife to make it easier when I go ahead and start mashing it. Mash it up to your level that you like. Some people like it very chunky. I'm not a big fan of that. I like it in the middle. Then I'm going to add half a red onion diced to this, 2 jalapenos diced, some tomatoes, and some radishes. Then I'm going to add in some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and then the juice of a lime. And then next up, I'm going to add some kosher salt to taste, give that a nice mix, and then I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some cilantro. So about a 1/4 cup of cilantro chopped, and then there we go. We are all done with our guacamole. Drop the seed in to keep it fresh, and we'll move on to the charro beans. So this is bacon, and I'm going to go ahead and start slicing this bacon up. It's about ½ a pound max. And then I'm going to go ahead and make nice little cuts here. So nice little slivers of bacon that's going to be charred up later on in the process. And then let's not forget the salted pork. So we're going to add some of that, and it's going to be cut in the same fashion as the bacon. Now I got a pot that's getting nice and warm, and I'm adding some olive oil to it, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil or avocado of your choice, and then drop in our bacon, start searing this up. So you want it at high heat when you drop in the bacon. Add some salt and pepper to taste. Then garlic powder. Going to use about 3 to 4 tablespoons of garlic powder into this. Then some chipotle powder, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. And then we're going to add in some ancho chili powder, about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. Once everything is nicely seared, a little crispy, I'm going to go ahead and add in half a white onion diced and about 2 to 3 jalapenos diced, or sliced if you want it for that matter. And then we're going to add in about a 1/4 cup of a can of diced tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes, half a can max if you want to as well. It just depends on how much you're going to make. Bring that to medium heat and then drop in 2 cans of pinto beans. Then about 2 to 3 cups of beef broth. Bring it to a boil, then drop it to a simmer before you add in about a handful of fresh chopped cilantro. And then just let it sit on simmer and you can cover it if you would like. And there are your charro beans. They're awesome. They're amazing. Now we're going to roast some corn. So I have some corn here that I'm going to go ahead and roast. It's on the cob, obviously, and I'm going to give it a nice flip throughout the process to make sure I don't burn it. And you can use your grill for this. It was too windy outside for me too. But we're going to go ahead and start making some butter. So I've got a half a stick of butter here, and I've got some ancho chili powder. I'm going to drop in about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of that. Then I'm going to come through with some chipotle powder. Same for that as well, about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that in here. And then we're going to go ahead and, of course, drop in some avocado oil so the butter doesn't burn when we heat it up in the microwave. So about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. Heat it up, and then you get this nice mixture that you can go ahead and lather onto your corn. Once you salt it, of course. And we're going to go ahead and put this all over the corn. Then we're going to go ahead and take that corn and we're going to cut it in half, and you can keep it as like on its cob. It's fine. I'm just going to slice these off of the cob all together. And I'm using the flat end from the half that I cut to make it more safe. That's what's going to be on the bottom as a base while I cut it off. So then I'm going to add some QP mayo here, about 2 tablespoons of QP mayo. You can use whatever kind of mayo you want. And then I'm going to give this a nice mix. Once that's all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and top it off with just a little garnish of QP mayo. Just make it look a little nicer there. And then some chopped red onions, some diced red onions for that matter, and chopped cilantro. And there you go. That is our street corn. And then for the margarita, so I'm going to go ahead and load up this cocktail shaker with ice, and then I'm going to use about 6 to 8 ounces of pineapple juice that I'm going to drop into here. 3/4 of an ounce of Cointreau to this. I'm not good with my French accent, so I do apologize, but 3/4 of an ounce of that right there, Cointreau. And then we're going to do about just a little bit of margarita juice in here. It's just lime margarita juice. And then I've got some tequila, of course, 3 ounces of that. And then give it a good shake, and you've got 2 really nice margaritas here. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a sugar on the rim person, more of a salt on the rim. So I'm going to put salt on the rim, but do as you please. Then we're going to fill it up, and yeah, we'll give it a taste. I have to say, this one was awesome. All right, here's the drink. Oh. That is damn good. All right, well, I'm going to keep cooking, so let's get back to this. Now it's time to shred the birria. So we're going to go ahead and start shredding it, and look at this. It literally is just falling apart from that braising process. So I used some gloves, let it cool down a little bit, used some gloves, and started shredding it with my hands. You can do it however you would like, but we want to shred this up really good. Now to form the chimichanga. So I've got about 3 to 4 tablespoons of flour in here and a little bit of water, and I just made a nice little glue for this. And so I'm going to go ahead and put it on the tortilla just on one side there. Then I'm going to drop in the meat in the center, and of course the cheese. You can do whatever you want. And then we're going to give this a nice burrito fold towards that nice tacky edge out there so it seals. And let them rest on top of that because it'll seal a little bit better before you go ahead and start frying. For the frying process, I'm using peanut oil, and I've heated the pan up to about medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop these in here seam side down first so that seals, and definitely be careful, don't overfill with too much oil. Once they're a nice golden brown, go ahead and give them a nice flip so you get a nice golden brown on each side. And let's not forget our Baja sauce. So I've got cream cheese spread here, the whipped kind, because it's really soft. I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of that, put that in a bowl, and then I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of mayo. You can go 2 tablespoons if you want to go extra hard. It's perfectly fine. I went a little bit over a tablespoon. And then I'm going to go ahead and come through with some canned green chilies that have been diced. Drop those in there. And then we're going to also follow up with some pickled and chopped jalapenos. Add those with the juice. It's going to make it taste really good. And just a little bit of white vinegar, like maybe like a half a teaspoon of white vinegar. Then we're going to go ahead and give this a nice mix. You can always add salt if you would like, but that is the Baja sauce. And you can go ahead and put this in the refrigerator for a little bit, but let's work on those chimichangas. So I'm going to go ahead and stack these in a pyramid, and in between each layer, I'm going to add some Chihuahua cheese, and I'm going to heat this up to melt it down. And if you do hear any loud noises in the background throughout this video, I do apologize. My neighbor's mowing his lawn. There's nothing I can do about that. He's got to mow his lawn. But yeah, so Chihuahua cheese, you can heat up in the microwave, or you can heat it up in the oven if you would prefer that. And yeah, we're almost ready to eat here, people. Once it's all melted, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some guacamole to the top of this, as well as some diced purple onion and some chopped cilantro. And let's not forget our awesome birria sauce, so that consomé that we made. And we're just going to go ahead and drizzle this all over the chimichangas. Keep it on the side as well to dip in, and we're ready to eat. All right, we're done. And honestly, everything looks really good. If you are going to make this on Cinco de Mayo, I have to say you're going to really love your Cinco de Mayo. So I will start with the chimichanga with the Baja sauce, and honestly, Birria Chimichangas. Come on, you can dip them in the consomé. You can do whatever you want with them. Put some hot sauce on it. I don't care. They are awesome. It is Birria Chimichangas, people. Let's celebrate. So dip them in that Baja sauce that I made for you. I just made a mess. I just made a mess. So, our charro beans, try that out. If you made it, it's gonna be awesome. Yes, I have my own beef bone broth, but you can use whatever bone broth you want. So, let's try it out. It's very juicy, it's awesome, it's smoky, and honestly, it has everything you need for good charro beans. You can't go wrong with charro beans. But hey, we're gonna try out these awesome street corns that we have here. Can I say awesome street corns? I think it would be street corn. I don't think we say corns in a plural way. Anyways, here we go. This is so damn good. And if you want a healthy version, swap out the mayo for Greek yogurt. It is 10 times better than if you put mayo in it. So yes, if you're listening now, use Greek yogurt, not mayo like I did. It is better. But I'm out. And oh, before I go, I'm gonna have some of this awesome margarita that I made earlier. And I've been sipping on it all day. Here it is. This is the best damn goddamn margarita I've made in my life. I can't even talk. All right, I'm out. Cheers. You're still here? It's over. Go home.